sporting events,
as well as some other events.
revitalizing and redistributing our organization.
You can now find us on the Michigan High School Athletic Association's page, MHSA.tv.
We will also be live broadcasting all of our events on the live broadcasting page, so be sure to check us out and subscribe to our production. Once again, I'm Casey Criddle,
I'm Ryan LeClaire.
and this is the Oilers.
Alright, welcome everybody. My name is Ryan LeClaire.
I'm Dimitri Havelis.
I'm Christian Driesneck.
I'm Casey Criddle, and you're back in the Oilers Zone.
We are the Oilers Zone. A lot of people ask us, what is the Oilers Zone? Maybe they haven't heard of it, they want to know more. It was created last year by the Wilson twins. Their original idea was to bring some sort of a sports center type program to the community so that other people could also get informed about our sporting events here at the high school. We brought broadcasts to a mainstream light in the community where it was free for anybody to access, and we also thought that it was a good idea for people who are surrounding the Isabel community to understand what we do here at Mount Pleasant. Our big question was, how can we bring our community together with the use of current sporting events in a sports center-esque program? And we thought it would be a great idea for the Oilers Zone to bring more views and more people together through one of America's greatest pastimes, sports.
The reason why we did the Oilers Zone is because we love sports and we love watching and playing. We've all been on the varsity level of a sport to appreciate it. And we wanted to show everyone, like parents, guardians, and just friends from away, they can tune in on our live stream and watch our YouTube videos. And if you're on a business trip, serving overseas, they all have access to this. And I think it's a great feature. Also, if same gender sports, like girls and boys basketball, they have different schedules, and they wanted to catch each other's games, they could always go to MHSAA and watch the boys' game while they were playing their own varsity match.
So the question is, how do we do that? Well, starting in 2003, they started to release several episodes on YouTube covering past sporting events, covering scores, and several other facts about the recent sporting events. We continued this process through the use of our skill sets in digital media, through camera work, talking about the sports themselves, and also felt like editing and putting everything back together. So we continued to use the episodes up on YouTube. And this year we also introduced the Play On streaming, where someone could watch the basketball game live if they so wanted to. Say, as Dimitri said before, let's say the dad away on a business trip wants to see his son play in the state finals. He has the ability to do that now. We also kept up with social media on YouTube and Facebook, as well as Twitter, where we would tweet during the games out scores so people could follow along, or look back after a sporting event was done to see what the final score was. So, and also, in figuring out how to do all this, we reached out to Central Michigan University and had representatives from their Broadcast and Cinematic Arts program come over, where they actually explained to us how to do the process through Play On, and kind of gave us tips for the whole broadcasting scenario. So we made some connections there that will go on to next year. So, the process, like I said already, we filmed the different episodes and also commentated at the basketball games. To do this, we first kind of had to talk to Conway and figure out how that would be possible with getting like a setup on the side of the court, to getting internet access, to having all of our equipment. Which also brings me to, we had to talk to Mr. Onstadt to get the necessary equipment. At the beginning of the year, we did not have a mixer, headsets, or microphones. And slowly as the year went on, we progressed from having audio that to something that people can actually really enjoy. So, and with that comes the Oilers Zone episodes where crews of us would go out and talk with people and get interviews with several of the athletes and put together little episodes about what was happening in Mount Pleasant this week. And now we'd kind of like to take some time to show you one of our productions that we created.
I'm Ryan LeBeau.
And I'm Casey Purdle. You're back in the Oilers Zone.
We're going to be doing a 2014-2015 recap video for all the sports at Mount Pleasant High School. First off, we're going to start off with tennis. Boys tennis in the fall of 2014, they actually pulled a 7-2-1 record, doing very well in the Saginaw Valley Conference here, as well as making it to states for the second year in a row, which hasn't happened in school history since 2007.
What about individual records?
Well, Michael Romer, the one singles player from Mount Pleasant, actually received All-State, first team All-State, which is a very nice, prestigious award to receive, as well as yours truly, who actually received first team All-Conference.
Yeah.
So let's hop on over to wrestling, Casey. Can you give us some news about that?
Yeah, wrestling was an interesting year. Mount Pleasant, very prestigious program. We had an off year. Out of our 7 seniors, 5 of us were in and out of the lineup due to injuries. We lost a few underclassmen to different infections. Ran through our heavyweights. So out of that, Josh Schaefer, junior from Mount Pleasant, actually went to states this year, which is a big thing. Hasn't happened for Mount Pleasant since 2008. So, and he's a junior who will be back next year.
Way to go, Josh Schaefer. That's very impressive. All right, now let's jump on over to the big one, basketball.
Basketball.
The team didn't have very much leadership from the seniors this year, as they only had 2 seniors returning from the last season. They came from a state semifinal in the Breslin Center in Lansing, and they had some struggles early on. Casey, what can you tell us about the record?
Yeah, the record, they're actually 11-12 on the year, being 6-9, 6 and 9 in the conference.
I mean, that's not a terrible record. You know, there's a lot of room for improvement on this team, but there's also a lot of talent with the underclassmen that will be transferred up to the varsity in years to come.
Yeah, specifically looking at Caleb Perry, obviously star athlete from Mount Pleasant. Even younger, Obi Rickenstrick has had some pretty good games this year. Moving forward, he'll be a big part of the lineup.
Killer outside shooter, the other killer outside shooter being Noah Ingram, lighting up from 3-point range in almost all of the games. You know what, now we're going to actually go out live to Grant Evans in the Oiler football field. Grant, how's it going?
Thanks, guys. I'm out here in Memorial Stadium at Mount Pleasant High School, just reminiscing about football and how fun it's been the past few years playing high school football. This year we went 7-4. I think we could have done a lot better, but with the team we had, it was pretty difficult since we only had about 8 seniors that actually played, 3 of which were injured or more. I can't remember, but one of my greatest memories from high school football is when we played Flint-Norman Ainsworth. It was overtime. We had a few seconds left, and I was in on the game-winning tackle with a few other of my football teammates. It was a great memory. Always going to remember that. I'm excited for the new stadium that's coming up pretty soon. That'll be really cool to come back from college and see what's changed. I'm excited to see how the team does next year. They were pretty young this year. They made up a majority of our team, but it would be really cool to see what they do next year and the years after that. So, yeah, back to you guys.
Thanks very much, Grant, and nicely done. Now talk a little bit about cross country. Boys cross country did pretty good in the region this year, finishing 7th overall, but led by Matt LaBelle, running a 16:57 and getting 85th at the state meet. Mac is also a first team all-conference and led the boys as only a sophomore. But very nice job to Mac. Girls cross country finished 5th in the region, led by Whitney Taylor running a 20:30 and followed by Grayson Evans running a 20:50. Both girls are all-conference runners and did a fantastic job kind of leading the team as underclassmen, so nicely done there. Dan's gonna tell us a little bit about some baseball.
Well, boys baseball, a lot of young talent on the team. I think they're 500 at this point, but they're going to make a good run during the playoffs, I have a feeling, because led by 3 seniors,
I believe so. It's a very young team.
very young team. But they have the talent, and they proved it last year by getting a state championship. And
Then we're gonna have to kind of tune in later to see what ends up happening. We're also in the middle of track right now. Regionals happened very recently. We had several students from both teams, both guys and girls, move on to the state finals. The boys 4x1 and 4x2 will be advancing to the state finals, as well as the girls 4x8 and 4x4. So a nice job to several of those girls on the team.
way to represent. I'm Dimitri Gavalis,
And I'm Christian Driesen.
and you're in the zone. Make sure to follow us on all social media. We are the Oilers Zone.
And you can find all of our past broadcasts at nhsaa.tv.
That's perfect.
Okay, we're done. Go. I'm Ryan LeBeau.
And I'm Casey Pirtle, and you're back in the zone. Oh my God!
Well, that is an example of one of the things we do at with the Oilers Zone. And
Which- Yeah, that actually brings us to future plans. This is the biggest question that we're faced with as of now. Our year as Oilers Zone has passed. We've done a lot, like they said, we took it from being just like a weekly YouTube video to being broadcasted, really archiving events, tweeting out a lot more on social media, posting on Facebook, stuff like that. So the biggest plans moving forward is who we're going to pass the torch on to. Us four were selected not only by Mr. Onstadt, the digital media instructor, but also the people who previously ran it, because they felt like we would have good input on what they were trying to reach, and also be able to put a good spin onto what was already existing. So I think moving forward, we're going to have a hard decision deciding on who we want to replace us. But hopefully next year, this being someone's senior project next year, you'll be able to see the changes from ours to theirs. We would also like to expand sports that we cover. That's something we want to stress because we only live stream basketball this year, but hopefully moving forward we want to see, rather than just 4 people trying to scramble around between events, we want to make sure that we're covering not only basketball, but baseball, wrestling, volleyball, try to get as many sports covered by different student teams to make sure that not one sport is favored over the other. Lastly, probably most importantly, community events is big. The Veterans Memorial, when we do our Memorial Day service in the auditorium, as well as like when we do like commencement ceremonies, graduation, stuff like that. We want to make sure that these are also broadcasted out so that people, like they said, grandparents who live a long ways away and can't make it, maybe travel issues or whatever, they can still see their grandchild play their favorite sport or graduate from high school without having to make the long, maybe expensive travel here.
One last thing before we're done, we're going to do our outro, one last bittersweet time. I'm Ryan LeBeau.
I'm Dimitri Gavalis.
I'm Christian Driesen.
I'm Casey Pirtle, and you're back in the Oilers Zone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much.